There are places firefighters refuse to enter twice. Not because the floors are weak, not because the smoke hides holes in the ground, but because sometimes, after the fire is dead, after the bodies are removed, after the police seal the scene, a room appears that should not exist. A room untouched by heat, untouched by water, untouched by time. And if you find it once, you start seeing it everywhere. At first, the room looks normal. A neatly made bed, dark green blankets tucked perfectly at the corners, a glass of water beside an ashtray, the faint smell of wet soil and cigarettes. But each time you enter it, something changes. Something moves closer. And eventually, the room stops belonging to strangers. It becomes yours. And if you ever see yourself sleeping inside it, you are already too late. My name is Daniel Mercer, and for 11 years I worked as a disaster structure inspector in northern Pennsylvania. People imagine my job was terrifying. It wasn't. Not at first. After enough collapsed homes and burned apartments, destruction becomes mathematical. You stop seeing family photos and children's toys. You start seeing stress fractures, warped support beams, unstable staircases. You become numb. Or at least, I thought I had. Everything changed during the winter of 2019. The call came during heavy snowfall just outside the town of Blackridge. A farmhouse had partially collapsed after a furnace explosion. The owners were missing, presumed dead beneath the debris. By the time I arrived, emergency crews had already left. The house stood alone in the white darkness, surrounded by dead cornfields buried under snow. Half the roof had caved inward. Smoke still curled lazily from the shattered windows. My boots crunched across frozen glass as I approached. The front door hung open. Inside, the air smelled like burned insulation and something older beneath it. Something damp, rotting. I switched on my flashlight. The beam cut through drifting ash. The kitchen was destroyed. Walls peeled apart. Pipes exposed like broken bones. Black scorch marks climbed the ceiling. Normal. I documented the damage and moved upstairs. The staircase groaned beneath my weight. Halfway up, I noticed something strange. No ash. The second floor should have been covered in soot, but the hallway carpet looked clean. Not untouched exactly, just cleaner than it should have been. 3 doors. The first bedroom was destroyed. Burned furniture collapsed inward like skeletons. The second room had smoke damage and water stains from the fire hoses. The third door stood at the end of the hallway. Closed. For some reason, my chest tightened when I looked at it. I remember hearing the wind outside suddenly stop. Complete silence swallowed the house. No creaking wood. No snow. No distant traffic. Nothing. I reached for the knob. Cold. Not winter cold. Dead cold. The kind that sinks into your joints. I opened the door slowly. The room inside was untouched. Perfectly untouched. A queen-sized bed sat against the far wall beneath faded floral wallpaper. Dark green blankets tucked neatly beneath the mattress. A lamp glowed softly beside the bed. That was impossible. The power had been cut hours ago. Next to the lamp sat a glass of water. Beside it rested an ashtray with a cigarette still inside. Thin gray smoke curled upward. Fresh. My flashlight trembled in my hand. Someone had been here. Recently. I stepped backward instinctively. Then I noticed the smell. Clover. Sweet and earthy. Like wet grass after rain. The same smell my grandmother's house used to have before she died. The room looked familiar somehow, though I knew I'd never seen it before. On the dresser sat an old alarm clock. 11:13 p.m. The second hand ticked loudly. Tick, tick, tick. I slowly raised my camera and took photographs. Each flash made the room feel darker somehow. Then I noticed something beside the bed. Footprints. Bare footprints. Leading underneath the bed. My stomach dropped. The room suddenly felt smaller. The air heavier. I crouched slowly, aiming my flashlight toward the darkness beneath the mattress. Nothing. Empty. I exhaled shakily. Then something whispered directly behind me. Don't look twice. I spun around so fast my shoulder slammed into the wall. Nobody. The room was empty. But the lamp beside the bed had turned off. The clock now read 11:14. 1 minute gone. Even though I'd only been inside seconds. I backed toward the door carefully. That's when I noticed the closet. The door was slightly open. And inside the darkness, someone was breathing. Slow. Wet. Uneven. I froze. The breathing stopped immediately. Then came a soft creak. The closet door slowly opened wider on its own. Inch by inch. My flashlight beam shook violently across hanging clothes. Old coats, dresses. Then something pale appeared between them. A face. Human skin stretched too tightly over bone. Its eyes were completely black, and it was smiling. Not a normal smile. Too wide. Like its jaw had been split open. The thing whispered in my voice. "Daniel." I ran. I don't remember reaching the truck. I only remember vomiting into the snow while my hands shook uncontrollably. I sat there for almost 20 minutes staring at the house. And during all that time, I swear I saw someone standing in the upstairs window, watching me, perfectly still, a silhouette beside the untouched bed, holding the curtain open slightly, waiting. And when I finally drove away, I noticed muddy barefoot prints across the inside of my truck windshield, from the passenger seat, as if someone had been sitting beside me the entire time. There is a rule in structural assessment. If a building survives destruction in a way that defies logic, you report it. If it survives twice, you escalate it. If it survives 3 times, you stop going alone. But no one tells you what to do when the building is not the strange part. When the strange part is the room that keeps appearing inside different ruins. Always intact, always waiting, and always recognizing you, even when you've never been there before. Especially then. I didn't sleep after Blackridge. I told myself it was stress, carbon monoxide exposure, exhaustion, anything rational. But the footprints in my truck didn't wash off. Not completely. Even after scrubbing, there was still a faint outline on the passenger seat, like someone sitting there had never fully left. 3 days later, I got the next assignment. A house fire in Milford County. Rural property. Family of 4 unaccounted for. Standard report. Standard procedure. I almost declined. Almost. But you don't decline assignments in my field. Not unless you want questions asked. So I went. The drive felt longer than usual. The road kept repeating small details. Same broken fence. Same dead tree bent like a question mark. Same abandoned mailbox with no name. When I arrived, the house was already half gone. Fire had eaten it from the inside out. The roof had collapsed inward like a swallowed breath. But what caught my attention immediately was the smell. Clover. Sweet. Wrong. Familiar. My hands tightened on the steering wheel before I even stepped out. "No," I said out loud. No. But I still got out. Emergency crews were gone. Only yellow tape remained fluttering weakly in the wind like it was trying to signal me away. I walked in anyway. Inside, everything was normal destruction. Burned beams, ash-covered furniture, melted plastic, broken glass. I did my job on autopilot. Photographs, measurements, notes. My voice felt distant in my own head. Then I reached the stairs. They were still intact. That shouldn't have been possible. I stepped up slowly. Each creak sounded like a warning. Halfway up, I stopped, because I heard something. A glass clink. Soft. From upstairs. Impossible. I hadn't seen any sign of survivors. I continued anyway. Second floor hallway. Same layout as the last house. My stomach dropped instantly. 3 doors. Left. Right. End of hall. The last door. Already slightly open. I didn't walk. I moved carefully, like the air itself might notice me. Each step closer made the smell stronger. Clover. Cigarette smoke. Wet wood. And something else underneath it. Something human. I reached the door. My hand hovered. Then it moved on its own. Opened. Inside, the room was perfect again. Untouched. The same dark green bedspread. The same ashtray. The same glass of water. But this time, there were more details. A second glass. Half full. Warm condensation still sliding down the side. And the cigarette in the ashtray was still burning. Fresh ember. Alive. Someone had just left. I stepped inside. The temperature dropped instantly. My breath became visible. The lamp flickered on without electricity. I froze. The room acknowledged me. That's the only way I can describe it. Like it had been waiting for my specific weight on the floorboards. I took a photo. Then another. And that's when I noticed something new on the nightstand. A folder. Manila. No markings. My name written on it. Daniel Mercer. My handwriting. I didn't remember writing it. My fingers wouldn't move for a second. Then I opened it. Inside were photos. Not of the house. Not of damage reports. Of me. Standing inside the first house. Standing inside Blackridge. Standing inside places I had never taken photos of. And in every single image, there was something behind me. In the doorway. Watching. I slammed the folder shut. The lamp turned off immediately. Darkness swallowed the room, but the smell remained. Clover. And now breathing. Slow. Right behind my ear. "Don't run this time," it said softly. My flashlight turned on by itself. And in the beam, the bed was no longer empty. Someone was lying there, facing away, covered neatly under the blanket. The exact way I sleep. One arm tucked under the pillow. My posture. My shape. Then the figure moved slightly and spoke without turning. "You keep leaving before I finish becoming you." The closet door creaked open again. But this time, there was no darkness inside. Only another room. Identical. And inside that room was me, standing at the doorway, looking back, smiling. I ran. But the hallway wasn't the same anymore. It stretched longer every step. Doors multiplying where walls should be. And every door was slightly open. All of them leading to the same room. And every room had already met me before. A destroyed house should be dead, burned, flooded, collapsed, forgotten. That is what makes them safe. Because dead things do not repeat. Dead things do not learn. Dead things do not wait for you at the end of the hallway inside a room that was never damaged in the first place. But I am learning something now that I was never supposed to understand. The rooms are not surviving the disasters. They are surviving me. And the more I see them, the more they start finishing my life in advance. Like I am already gone. Like I already belong inside them. I didn't report the Milford house. That was the first rule I broke. The second was worse. I went back. Not because I wanted to. Because I couldn't stop thinking about the folder. About my handwriting. About photos I never took. And about the version of me lying in that bed like it had always been his. The county gave me 3 new assignments after that. I ignored them. My supervisor called. I didn't answer. Then the call stopped. Which is worse than being questioned. It means they think you're unstable. Or worse, replaceable. 3 days later, I found myself parked outside another structure. I don't remember driving there. That's important. Because I should have remembered. It was a duplex this time. Fire damage. Upper floor collapse. Emergency crews already gone. Same pattern. Same silence. Same wrong feeling in the air. And that smell? Clover. I didn't step out immediately. I just sat there gripping the wheel until my knuckles turned pale. Because I understood something now. The rooms weren't random. They were following a sequence. Not of buildings. Of me. I got out. The moment my boots hit the ground, I felt it. Recognition. Like the building had exhaled. Waiting. Inside, the structure was worse than before. Walls melted inward. Ceiling partially collapsed. Floor unstable. But I didn't check any of that anymore. I went straight upstairs. I didn't need to think. My body already knew the way. Hallway. 3 doors. End of hall. Slightly open. I stopped. My heart wasn't beating fast anymore. It was steady. Too steady. Like something had adjusted it. Then I heard something behind me. A voice. My voice. "Don't make it obvious you remember." I turned. Nothing. But the air behind me felt occupied. Like someone had just stepped away to give me space. I opened the door. The room inside was different this time. Not because it changed, but because it included more of me. The bed was still there. Perfect. Dark green blanket. Ashtray. Glass of water. But now there were personal details I had never seen in any of my homes. A coffee mug I don't remember buying. A jacket hanging on the chair I swear I lost last winter. And a framed photograph on the wall. Me, standing in front of this exact house. Smiling. Except I had never been here before. I walked inside slowly. The floor felt warm. Like it had just been used. The lamp turned on automatically again. No switch. No electricity surge. Just awareness. The room was awake. On the bed, there was something new. A second outline beneath the blanket. Not just one body shape this time. 2. One of them was mine. The other wasn't finished yet. Like it was still deciding what version of me it wanted to become. I backed away. The door closed itself. Not slammed. Gently. Like politeness. Then the whisper came again. But closer. Inside my head. "You think you are documenting damage. You are the damage." The closet opened. And inside was not another room this time. It was a hallway. Endless. And every door in that hallway had my name on it. Different handwriting each time. Different versions of me. Older. Younger. Broken. Smiling. Missing. I stepped back instinctively. But the room behind me was gone. Now there was only the hallway. And at the far end, someone standing. Me. But not waiting. Approaching. Slowly. Confidently. Like it already knew how this ends. It spoke without moving its mouth. You keep reporting empty houses, but you never notice. They are reporting you back. The walls began to shift, not collapsing, rewriting. The structure wasn't breaking anymore. It was correcting itself, around me, based on me. And suddenly, I understood the worst part. These houses were not destroyed. They were being rebuilt into a shape that could contain me properly. A shape that already existed somewhere else. Inside the untouched rooms, where I was supposed to be. I ran again, but this time the exit didn't lead outside. It led into another house. Already damaged. Already waiting. Already remembering my footsteps before I arrived. And at the end of the hallway, the door was open. And inside, I was already there. There is a point where fear stops feeling like fear. It starts feeling like procedure. Like something scheduled. Like something already approved somewhere you were never invited to read. I used to think I was entering destroyed houses. Now I understand something worse. I was being routed through them. Each one a corridor. Each one a rehearsal. Each untouched room a checkpoint. And every time I walked inside, I moved one step closer to becoming the version of me that never leaves. I don't know how I got home after the last structure. That's the first missing piece. One moment, I was inside a collapsing hallway filled with doors labeled with my name. And the next, I was standing in my driveway. Night. Quiet. No engine sound. No memory of driving. Just my hands still shaking like they belonged to someone else. My house looked normal. That should have been comforting. It wasn't. Because I now understood what normal meant. It meant uninspected, untouched, unreported, uncorrected. I stepped inside slowly. Every sound felt delayed, like the house was listening before it decided to respond. Floorboards creaked after I stepped on them, not during. The air smelled like clover. My stomach dropped instantly. No, I whispered. Not here. But the smell doesn't ask permission. It spreads. I checked the living room first. Normal. Kitchen. Normal. Stairs. Normal. That was worse. Because now I knew the pattern. If everything downstairs is normal, then upstairs is already decided. I climbed. Each step felt heavier, like gravity had increased specifically for me. The hallway light flickered once, then stayed on. 3 bedroom doors. But I only have 2 bedrooms. I stopped walking. Counted again. Still 3. The third door wasn't there this morning. I'm sure of it. My mouth went dry. The third door was at the end of the hall. Already slightly open. Of course it was. I didn't approach immediately. I stood there for what felt like minutes. Listening. Hoping. Begging for something outside this logic to interrupt it. But there was nothing. No wind. No neighbor sounds. No reality correcting itself. Just me. And the room that didn't belong. I reached for the handle. It was warm. Not room temperature. Warm like skin. Like it had been held. I opened it. And I stopped breathing. The room inside was my room. Not similar. Not inspired. Not duplicated. It was mine. The exact layout. The exact furniture. The exact stains. The exact disorder I never bother fixing. My unmade habits. My forgotten clutter. Even the small crack in the ceiling from last winter. Everything. But the bed. The bed was made. Perfectly. Neatly tucked. Like someone had studied me long enough to correct me. And on the nightstand, a glass of water. An ashtray. A pack of cigarettes. I don't smoke. I never have. But the ashtray was already used. Fresh ash. Still warm. Then I saw the photograph on the wall. My mother. The one I keep in storage. The one I never hung here. My throat tightened. Because I remembered something I shouldn't have. I had taken it down. Months ago. But it was back. And restored. Like nothing had ever happened. The lamp turned on. No switch. No sound. Just acceptance. I stepped inside. And the door closed behind me without touching it. Inside the room, the air felt heavier. Like it had already been breathed before. Like I was inhaling someone else's exhale. Then I heard it. From inside the closet. A soft knock. 3 times. Polite. Patient. Familiar. I didn't move. The closet door opened on its own. And inside was not darkness. It was another room. Identical. But occupied. And inside that second room was me. Standing exactly where I was standing now. Looking back at me. But not surprised. Not afraid. Just waiting. As if I was the one late to something already scheduled. My reflection smiled. Then spoke. You finally came home properly. My legs almost gave out. I backed away instinctively. But there was nowhere to go. Because the room behind me was no longer my house. It had become the hallway from the houses. Endless. Repeating. Stacked like broken blueprints. and every doorway contained a version of me standing slightly differently. Some were sleeping, some were writing, some were watching me with empty eyes. Then the first version of me stepped forward, from the closet room, into mine. The air changed immediately, like the house approved the transfer. He, or I, looked around slowly, appreciating, correcting, then said softly, "You were never inspecting damage. You were distributing yourself into the structures." I shook my head. "No, I fix them. I report them." He smiled wider. "That's what we told you." Behind him, the bed shifted. Something under the blanket moved. Slowly, deliberately, a shape forming, not waking up, arriving. Then the voice came again. From everywhere. From walls. From floor. From inside my teeth. "You've entered 5 destroyed houses. And in every one, you left something behind." My vision blurred. I tried to run, but the hallway outside the room was gone. Now there was only structure, rebuilding itself around me. Walls sealing, rooms folding, blueprint rewriting in real time. The house was no longer a place. It was a containment system, designed for one occupant, me, or what I was becoming. The final version of me stepped closer and placed something into my hand. A report file, my name on it. Final structural assessment, Mercer Residence. I opened it. Inside was a single line. Occupant successfully relocated to untouched condition. The bed behind him creaked, slowly, like something settling into a familiar position. And the last thing I saw before everything became quiet was myself lying down in the bed, perfectly still, waiting, like I had been there the whole time, and finally understood why I never remember falling asleep. If this case ever reaches you, don't ignore it. Because what I found in those destroyed houses was never about the buildings. It was about what happens when something starts using you as part of the structure. And once it learns your shape, it doesn't stop at imitation. It replaces. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments, what do you think the untouched room really is? A memory, a copy, or something that's been waiting for all of us from the beginning? I'll see you in the next one, if you're still you when you get there.